The beautiful north coast of Northern Ireland is the venue for a special sporting experience. A motorcycling road race which has it all. The speed, the slipstreaming, and the spectacular scenery.
This could be the most competitive race of the weekend, you know. Oh, hang on a second, what am I saying? It's already started.
Well, what a magnificent coastal backdrop for Ireland's biggest and fastest outdoor sporting event. So far we've had some sensational racing. Here's what's happened.
Oh, Dean Harrison up on the curb. Well, Irwin's the quickest man, but it's Davey Todd that's still on the pace. And look at this, side by side. He's going to go round the outside. The long way round never works. It never works. The outside line will not work there. That's it. Glenn Irwin takes another win here.
Glenn Irwin celebrates his 9th Superbike win in a row at the Northwest 200.
As they go down towards Primrose Hill, and then the breaking point at York Corner. First in there, Davey Todd. They're in there hot. Oh, bike room. Oh, that is terrible. McLean came in too hot. Richard Cooper on schedule then for his first win in Supersport around this course. He got a poor start, avoided all the aggravation at York Corner and takes the win. Richard Cooper on the top step takes his 5th Northwest 200 win.
So no shortage of drama up to now. Next we bring you the first of the event's Superstock races around this unique 8.9 mile circuit on closed public roads between the towns of Portrush, Portstewart and Coleraine. And time to join our race commentators, Steve Parrish and Keith Ewan.
Final preparations for the opening Superstock race of the weekend here on the Northwest Coast. Davey Todd on pole, Peter Hickman, Dean Harrison alongside. Michael Dunlop, James Hillier, John McGuinness, Paul Jordan, Mike Browne and Erno Costamo on row 3.
Big grid for this, obviously, Superstocks. It's what a lot of people do have, and we get ready with the lights to go out.
And the whole shot is whose. It looks a good one for Dean Harrison on bike number 5 at 74. It is Davey Todd. He gets a lightning start again. He's so good at starting.
He is absolutely brilliant. We ride with him now on the Milwaukee BMW. Davey Todd, who is really coming on form with that bike.
Just a 4-lap race, of course, so this is a proper sprint. No worry about tyres, no worry about anything, just getting on with it. We're at York for the first time, back to bottom gear. Now the rise up towards the Mill Road roundabout. It doesn't look like much of a rise, but it is.
It is very, very steep round there. All nice and safely through there, but Dean Harrison got away really well. That's who we're looking at behind him right now. Up towards the Mill Road roundabout, really tight. You can see right, left. Oh, he's gone straight on. Peter Hickman's gone straight on.
He's going to have to wait now then and take his turn.
He is. He's lost a lot of ground there on the new sponsorship Swan on his helmet there, but anyway, it is Davey Todd that sets off on the fastest part of the course now. We worked this out the other day. Through this fast station corner, it's something like 45 seconds flat out.
You can hear it from even the helicopter as we look down on Dean Harrison's onboard camera. Keep an eye on that tyre, see how that degrades over the course of these 4 laps. Todd from
Hillier drops into 3rd.
Harrison in 2nd place. Yes, Hillier did drop into 3rd on the 37 machine. Over the link road then, Dean Harrison closes in as well. Magic roundabout time for the first time.
And of course, this is Dean Harrison's best chance in the racing. Realistically, Honda decided not to bring the Superbike. That's Hickman out.
Peter Hickman is out.
Down,
so the PHR Performance Superstocker, his own bike, he's out of this race. Not good for him, that is for sure. So Big Hickey out of the race. Yeah, and a growl.
Good job we can't lip read.
Yeah, indeed. Dean Harrison then, big lead for these two. Nobody is interfering with them at all. It's all going to be about them. This man though, Michael Dunlop, just again, it's real trial and error at the moment for these guys. These are all new bikes for Michael, pretty much. He's not done much mileage on any of them.
No, that's right. Everyone's waiting for some parts to get them up to speed, but the Superstock machine is going very well. Michael Dunlop doing his best, builds that bike himself, but runs it through Hawk Racing.
Yeah, from Mallory Park, if you're familiar with that, it's the Hicken family. So, York, hairpin, Dean Harrison, can he get onto terms with Davey Todd? He's kept him honest throughout the race at the moment. Michael Dunlop is still in 3rd place. Hillier, McGuinness, Costamo, Mike Browne, they are in the leading top 10, but nowhere near the leading 2 as they power their way down to University Corner. Davey Todd absolutely glued to the tank.
The longest straight that you can imagine on a racetrack, up to 200 miles, over 200 miles an hour on Superstock machines just before they get on the brakes.
Harrison is still there, you know, harrying Davey Todd. Davey Todd, one little mistake and Harrison is going to be all over him, no doubt about that. We're on the link road. This is Hillier in front of the resurgent John McGuinness, enjoying his outing here on the northwest coast. Brilliant stuff. I mean, I have to say, 52 years old and still competitive with whoever we might sling at him.
Yeah, and so enthusiastic about it all now.
Oh, Davey Todd, is he going to make the turn? Only just, I can tell. He still makes the apex. Oh. Out of control.
And there's John McGuinness past Hillier as they go into the chicane.
Wow, lively. You talk about breaking point by 1 metre, Ed. His back wheel in the air by nearly a metre. John McGuinness then, really enjoying his outing here, no doubt about that.
You can just see those eyes, can't you, behind that dark visor peering into the distance. And at these speeds, you've got to be looking about a mile in front of you.
Indeed. Up onto the coast road we go then. Still Davey Todd being kept honest by Dean Harrison. Under the railway bridge, onto the coast road. McGuinness. Also, the great thing about dark visors, you can see the lights changing on the dashboard as well, flashing when it's time to change gear. There is Harrison in second place on bike number 5. The 74 of Davey Todd is out front on the Milwaukee BMW. He'll be looking, well, he is Mr. Superstock, isn't he? It's a class he rides in BSB. Now then, Hillier back in front of John McGuinness. So the 37, James Hillier, working pretty hard to get in front of the veteran. McGuinness, though, he'll be wanting to pinch that place, no doubt about it. McGuinness will be looking for 4th place if he gets past Hillier again.
He'll be thinking of his bonus as well, I'm almost certain of that.
So, final lap. We are on the last 9 miles of this course. And this is Hillier versus McGuinness. York hairpin. Now then, John, can you duff up the number 37 machine of James Hillier, the 39-year-old James Hillier versus the 52-year-old John McGuinness? Flames, he's got it fueled.
Very, very much so. These bikes, in fact, they did have some fuel consumption problems with them. They really are quite tight on fuel around. It's okay for this race, the 4-lapper, but I know in qualifying they've worked things out. It's pretty tight on the 6th lap.
If you can see flames, that means they're being generous with the fuel. As soon as you pick the throttle up, you get a great big flame out of the back. McGuinness then. Bit disappointed perhaps Honda without having their superbikes here. Oh, that's a disaster. That's given it to Todd. Dean Harrison has gone up the slip road. He'll stop in the stop box here. Yes, he did. Otherwise, he'll pick up a 10-second penalty. So Harrison is done for. Davey Todd is let off. But does he know it?
No,
he
well,
doesn't.
that's the thing. He won't know. There's no pit boards around there at all. This is still going on, isn't it, by these two, I guess you say, elder stalwarts of what's going on. John McGuinness is just desperate to get past Hillier.
Flag is being made ready on the coast road. The checkered flag will be out for this man. He's at Metropole. Just a short blast along the coast road now for him. Program's being waved. Massive crowd here, I've got to say, especially down in Port Rush. They've had trouble with crowd control there. But they've been treated to an interesting Superstock race as Davey Todd blasts along. Oh, Hillier still in front. This is the battle for 4th place. Don't forget Michael Dunlop is a long way in front of them in 3rd place. Hardly seen the Irishman. Program's being waved then. McGuinness, can he get past for that 4th place? It will be a scalp if he can do James Hillier in the end. Meanwhile, this is what it looks like. Up onto the coast road. That is that quick. We haven't sped it up. Davey Todd then, well on his way to taking that checkered flag. Neat, tidy, and unfazed. The checkered flag is out. Takes that win on the Thursday. That's 1 down, 1 to go as far as Superstock is concerned. Over the line goes Michael Dunlop and, of course, 2nd place man. This is the battle for 4th place. Who's going to get it?
Hillier, I think, has got the advantage now into the last corner, and it is number 37 there, James Hillier. He'll be very pleased with that ride.
Parc Ferme, and a great ride from Davey Todd as the Milwaukee boys work out what was going on. Dean is perhaps not so happy at finishing 2nd in the way that he did in the end, with Michael Dunlop a lonely 3rd for him. James Hillier beat John McGuinness, Erno Costamo, Mike Browne, Ian Hutchinson, Sam West and Craig Neve round out the top 10.
I wasn't sure if I was going to race. Honestly, I'm a little bit sore to that crash in the Supersport race. I don't come here to sit on the sidelines. I always say I'll give it a go, I'll try my best, and I didn't know what it was going to be like. I thought I'll just go out and ride as hard as I can and do what I can for the boys, because they've done an amazing job with the bike here. It's fantastic, it's awesome to ride, and I hate to think how many second places I've had now, but it's nice to get a big bike win.
The sun is shining, the weather is absolutely perfect. Joining me on the grid are Lee Johnson, Jenny Tinmouth and Philip McCallan. Jenny, the first race is for the Super Twins. Who's the favourite here?
You've got to say Richard, haven't you? But Pete Hickman's put his R7 on pole there, so who knows?
But Philip, don't forget Jeremy McWilliams brings real pedigree here.
He does. Let's not forget, you're talking about your two men. I'm going to put Jeremy in there. Like, don't forget, he's an ex-MotoGP rider. He's one of the few riders in the world to beat Valentino Rossi in his good days.
Time to join our commentary team, Steve Parrish and Keith Ewan.
The first Supertwin race of the week gives us the largest man on the smallest motorcycle on pole position. Hickman, Cooper, Jeremy McWilliams. What a front row that is as well. But watch out for Mike Browne on row 2. Looking down the order, Michael Rutter in the middle of row 4 is competitive. And Phil Stewart brings up the rear with the Kawasaki.
Absolutely perfect conditions. The only thing that's happened, Keith, is the wind has changed direction as we wait for the lights to go out, and it's a blast off the line. Number 47 there, number 17 went down the inside there, but Richard Cooper is somewhere in there. He is very much in there.
It's the 99. It's the veteran that got the whole shot. It was McWilliams, but I think already, yes, it is Cooper that's managed to regain control. You would have said that the 47 surely is a favourite for this race. He's really made Supertwin all his own before. He wants to win 4 out of 4 races in the 2 Supersports and the 2 Super Twins. We're looking at the number 9. That is Chris Duncan that comes into view. That's a great style, I've got to say. Big numbers, it's a bit retro.
It looks very American, doesn't it? Gary Nixon back in the days, it's very much like that. We're on board with Peter Hickman now on the Swan machine, the Swan Yamaha. He's developed this bike himself. It's changed a lot since last year. It's got a lot more powerful.
He's done great work indeed. He was looking for a head gasket though last night, so he's got some parts are still not available readily. Here we go then. 47, Richard Cooper has just been done by Jeremy McWilliams, and he is a slipstream veteran and an artist at it as well. But Coops regains control at the front of the link, and into second place goes the 99 of Jeremy McWilliams. Behind him is the pole man. Is he going to be able to make that work, do you wonder? You've got to say, he's pulling so many extra kilos.
Yeah, he is, and a lot of these riders have just recently, this morning on the grid, changed their gearing because of this headwind. It's quite a lot slower, 5 or 6 miles an hour. Interesting. On the brakes there from Hickman. Treaded tyre for Jeremy McWilliams and for Cooper. They're allowed to run either slicks or treaded tyres, and the dirt's flying everywhere. Knee in the dirt.
Dips his knee in the dirt as we get the number 9 that we were talking about earlier on. That is Chris Duncan that's gone up the slip road on his Aprilia. Oh, Michael Sweeney, has he done the same thing? Into Metropole then. Oh, Hickey on the brake. I tell you, he's a demon on the brakes, isn't he? Peter Hickman at the moment. But out front is Richard Cooper on the 47 machine.
Who you have to remember has won 4 of these Supertwin races in the last 2 years. So for sure, Richard Cooper on the Ryan Farquhar machine is going to be a man to try and beat. That's the Jack Reed Cars machine.
Meanwhile, Mike Browne in his second outing at the Northwest 200. This man, though, has had many outings here, and he's enjoyed every single one of them. Jeremy McWilliams, he might be a veteran, but he's no less competitive. That is for absolute certain. Peter Hickman, I was amazed that he managed to hustle that bike round for pole position, but he's looking very competitive here. Cooper's bike just looks a little bit lively when you watch it in comparison to previous times. Over the line they go. Down the gearbox for McWilliams. Into that right-left flick out towards the curb. McWilliams just losing a little bit of touch with these two out front now. We're on lap 2. It's a 4-lap race. Hickman looks cool, calm and collected.
That's Sweeney out.
This time he is, for sure. So into pit lane and the tented village that is the garage. Meanwhile, Mike Browne. Keep an eye on Mike Browne on the Aprilia Racing, Scott Racing machine. McWilliams.
Look at those highs, Jeremy McWilliams is chasing, looking down at the dash as well, checking out the revs, whatever's going on there. But it's about these two at the moment. McWilliams has dropped back a little bit, not too far back. Peter Hickman, knee on the ground as he goes through there, and then the bumpy section coming out as the camber drops off. This is Slipstream City, probably the bumpiest part of the circuit here.
Great camera as well, looking back at Hickman doing his work, but Hickman looks calm. He's found the slipstream, but it's all very well finding the slipstream, but when you pull out of it, he's not able to make the pass. Normally, once you've been to that vacuum behind the bike in front, he gives you a couple of miles an hour and you can slip up the inside of the rider in front, but Hickey wasn't able to do that back then. Back with Mike Browne, and you can see just even these little bikes bumping away, and again, look at the work that Cooper is having to do in the braking area.
He's gone
there.
wide, a little bit wide, but he's managed to pull it back down again. Of course, these two were teammates at Daytona earlier this year, Hickman and Cooper.
Well, he's been a teammate of yours, hasn't he, Cooper?
He certainly has. He made me have a result at Goodwood.
Made me have a result. Well, if you're going to be paired up with someone, make sure he's fast. This is McWilliams, just losing touch now with Cooper and Hickman. Hickman, for me, just looks calm. Everything looks like it's going the way it should go for him. Mike Browne back on board with him again. Working hard, Browne is. And he's back in third place at the moment. No, he's not. He's fourth, but he's closing, I think, on Jeremy McWilliams.
Yeah, I think he is. This is lap record stuff. The highest top speeds they've got running. Not quite as fast as they have been in practice because of that wind change.
Is there enough time for Mike Browne to catch McWilliams as we go on to lap 3?
Yeah, I think there probably is. The lap times he's doing. He didn't get a very good start, but he's certainly closing in. His lap times are looking like he could pass McWilliams.
Great camera. I love this.
Hickman looks like he's going to do it somewhere. He looks like he's weighing things up, doesn't
York Corner, and these two are away. McWilliams is next up at York Corner. Oh, great sound and vision. Back at the front. Where's McWilliams? There he is. Where's Browne? There he is. So the four are now in view as they come down to University. McWilliams will be watching out for what's coming from behind, and that might well be Mike Browne. There's the race leaders going into the Ballysally roundabout. This is Mike Browne closing down on the Aprilia. Consistent lap, consistent ride. The number 16 looking stylish through the Ballysally roundabout onto the rush to Portrush.
And he's got that carrot in front of him of Jeremy McWilliams there. You can see Browne closing in. He's been getting quicker and quicker as the race goes on.
Got a lap and a half to do it if he's going to catch that podium position. Oh, and he is close. Oh, McWilliams,
Jeremy.
oh, that's a big mistake.
Oh, he's lost ground there, undoubtedly. That was 1-2 seconds maybe. He lost going into there, got in too hot, had to square it off.
Back with the leaders. Cooper under pressure. Do you know what? Peter Hickman is using his head here as well as his motorcycle. He's just sitting him. He's going to mug him. He's absolute sitting in behind Richard Cooper. He looks the calmer of the two, but Cooper, if Hickman does decide to mug him at some stage or another, as we go across the line for the last lap then. So last lap time. Here's Browne on McWilliams. You've got to say, with the rate that he's now caught, Jeremy, he must have surely something in hand. These two are on their way. Now then, where is Hickman going to do it? He's obviously going to do it, but where is he going to do it, and will he make it stick?
Yeah, you would think if he gets a good slipstream, perhaps down to the University corner there. You can see that treaded tyre. Hickman on slicks front and back.
Down towards York then. Bottom gear even for these bikes. Blasting up the hill. This is where it's the weight, I think, the weight differential between those two does count when you're trying to push that uphill. Jeremy McWilliams, well, there's still no extra meat on him. There never has been. He is still racing weight, even at his advancing age. You've got to say that he is supremely fit.
Does a lot of test riding for KTM, rides those BMW, the Indian baggers in the States. Some of the spectacular rides we've seen him have on those baggers out in America for Jeremy McWilliams has been stunning.
Mike Browne chasing the man we're talking about. Meanwhile, again, Hickman looking menacing behind Richard Cooper. Richard Cooper will be able to, he's that close, you'll be able to feel him because it moves you around in the seat when someone's in your slipstream.
He'll certainly hear it because these are some of the loudest bikes on the grid, aren't
they? That's a fact.
Mike
yes.
Browne now, slipstream coming down.
Here
Hickman
we
down
go.
the inside.
Is he going to go for it at Metropole? Yes, he is. So does he pull it to the apex? Yes, he does. It is Hickman out front on the final lap. He's up to Church Corner, and really, he's mugged him. And will the same fate befall Jeremy McWilliams from Mike Browne behind him, I wonder? The number 16 looking to line himself up as well. Look at Hickman hugging that white line into Juniper. He's not going to let Richard Cooper underneath him at the final chicane, is he? Meanwhile, the same thing goes on with Mike Browne. Mike Browne closing along the coast road to McWilliams. Is he going to get under him? Yes, he is. He's up the inside, but Williams did not go defensive, and that has let Mike through, and he's done it, but the checker flag is out for Peter Hickman. Well judged over Richard Cooper. Third place will surely go to Mike Browne. He's done the work. Yes, it does. The number 16 pulls it off. He goes to the podium too.
I don't think Jeremy was quite aware of that. Peter Hickman, Richard Cooper, Mike Browne. That's your podium. Jeremy McWilliams just outside. Christian Elkin, Barry Ferber, Gary McCoy. AJ Venter, a newcomer. Great ride from him. Chris Duncan and Barry Graham.
You know, racing against Coops is always hard work anyway. You know, he's super fast. He's little, he's light. You can see the jump out of the corners he's got on me. Managed to just get away with it. You know, it was tight, but yeah, really enjoyed that.
Well, it's great to see one of the biggest crowds at the Northwest 200 for years.
Our second Superbike action of the week is over 6 laps, 53.68 miles it is. Pole position, Glenn Irwin, Davey Todd alongside him, and then Michael Dunlop, fans' favourite, on the front row of the grid. Harrison, Hickman, Connor Cummins on row 2, McGuinness, Hillier and Paul Jordan on row 3. Looking back down the grid, Ian Hutchinson is back, Erno Costamo, Adam McLean, Dominic Herbertson, Michael Rutter, Craig Neve, Mike Browne, Davey Johnson and Sam West round out the official grid. Lights are on and they're out. Now then, will it be Davey Todd? He got a little bit of a slip there and all of a sudden Glenn Irwin was trying to pinch the whole shot off him and he gets it. Irwin then gets across Davey Todd for the first time, just what he wanted. As we go down the avenue, that is Millbank Avenue, and over Primrose Hill into the braking area for the first time. Full tanks of fuel, remember, and this will be the first time they've done that in Ango. Oh, it's tight, isn't it? There is Michael Dunlop on the outside. Most of them made the apex.
Yeah, they did. Oh, they're up the inside there, so that's Todd's got in front of the Ducati of Glenn Irwin.
He was wide. Glenn Irwin was the only one I think that was wide down at that first gear corner. So up to the Mill Road roundabout for the first time. Todd has the lead. Now, he is remarkable through Station Corner, Steve.
Yeah, he is very brave. It's all about throttle on board with Peter Hickman. He gets a reasonable start there. Michael Dunlop on our right, keeping his weight to the front of the bike, trying to keep the front wheel down. That is Dean Harrison, nips round the outside, so not a brilliant start there for Peter Hickman. Now we saw Glenn Irwin blast the lap record on Thursday. He did a 4:16. It was something like 2 seconds underneath the lap record.
Won't be getting that, I don't think, at the 6-lap race, because they will have to conserve tyres, or they won't have any left by the time they get to the end of it. But still in the slipstream, then here we go. It is Davey Todd out front of the Ducati man. The Hager Ducati looks to go to the outside of the BMW. Davey Todd, does he make it? Oh, yes. Force it to fit on the opening lap. So Glenn Irwin, well, trying to get his elbows out pretty early in this race, if you ask me.
Yeah, Dunlop sitting there in third position as they go up to the roundabout right now. But not only I don't think they'll break any lap records, it's the wind on their face is going to slow these lap times down, going down to University.
Even the big bikes, doesn't it? It affects them all. The wind at the moment, it has changed. Beautiful clear sky. Temperature on the track is going up and up and up. Probably the highest temperature we've had here track-wise for some years.
I would think almost certainly.
Oh, Davey Todd, he's loose, isn't he, when he's in the braking area. Rear wheel in the air, up behind Glenn Irwin then. So Irwin leads on the number 1 bike. We're on with Peter Hickman. He's got work to do. You can see where that work is beginning, with the riders up the road just a bit further than he might have liked.
Yeah, you've got to remember that the first... Dunlop down.
And he didn't stop.
He's got to stop, otherwise he gets a penalty.
He went straight through, so he's going to get a 10-second penalty for that. Now, how's that going to shake out when we get to the flag? He's got time to make up time, but really, you could have done without that.
Well, Dean Harrison's down the inside of him. Is he going to get into the Metropole first? He's going to be close to Harrison, lets him go through there. But Harrison must know, if he's read the regulations, that he's now in front of Dunlop with that 10-second penalty.
That Hawk bike that basically Dunlop is riding as well, it's not fully fettled just yet. It's certainly a Superbike, but has it got a Superbike motor in it?
No.
That's been the question all week.
I think it's a stock motor pretty much, with the right fork swinging arm and brakes on it from the Superbike. Dean Harrison doing a great job on what is a standard bike. So realistically, Dean Harris is only on the proper Superstock spec machine, which means out the showroom more.
Well, he ain't going bad on it, is he? We're with Dean Harrison right now, and there is Dunlop behind him. So the number 6, who will be getting the penalty, that is for sure. Once the organisers shake down what he's just done at the chicane, he went straight through when he should have stopped, put his foot down, and then blasted off to give himself an adequate penalty on track. Now then, into the final corner. Dean Harrison went straight on.
He did.
Did he push the front?
No, he was going in too hot, I think. Yeah, I think he probably did push the front. He's going in there way, way hot. Dunlop out on the curb there now. Must be getting some signals. But
let's have a look.
He just missed the apex.
He just got too hot. He was a little too hot, maybe, and lent on the front. He will have felt it more than we saw it, that's for sure. Side by side then. Oh, great camera. Todd and Glenn Irwin, absolutely side by side. These bikes are 210 mile an hour they've been going at this week.
They have.
And you really, anybody out there that's done 210 mile an hour will know what it feels like, but I feel like that is a minute percentage of the world.
I think it's a tiny amount of motorcycle racers, for that matter, be quite honest with you. You've got to be in MotoGP or riding around the Northwest 200.
Incredible speeds between the hedges. It really is a bit special, but when it's between two artists like these, it's spectacular. You're going to have to be good to pass Todd on the brakes.
Yeah.
And will that have anything to do with the aero? You'll notice the massive amount of aero on that motorcycle that Todd's riding. It's spectacular, and it's working so well, pressing that motorbike into the tarmac. But it's about wheel spin as well. You get too much wheel spin, it takes the centre of the tyre out. Look at this. In the slipstream then, the Ducati's winding itself up.
Then they switch to the right-hand side. It's obviously a bit smoother on the left, and then they switch to the right to get the line into the McElroy here.
Yeah, riders have a different way of avoiding the manhole covers here, don't they? Some go left, some go right, but it's all about preference, where what bumps interfere with them the most. So they try to avoid them, obviously.
Look, you can see that tyre. That's the hard section they have in the centre of the tyre to stop it blowing out in these high speeds, and there we go.
Hager Ducati, but on the brakes, still, it is Davey Todd that is the master. Whether that's by choice for Glenn Irwin, he's just easing himself into a position with Davey Todd. This is going to be a Juniper chicane shootout, isn't it, at the end of the day? The amount we've seen there this week, as they both purr through Church Corner, under the railway bridge, up towards the coast road we go. This is a smooth section, retarmacked a year or 3 ago.
Yeah, and there's no doubt that Glenn Irwin, number 1 in second position, has got more information than Davey Todd on where he's fast, where he's not fast. I think he's just weighing things up. He's just biding his time, I believe.
I think you're absolutely right, Steve. Here he comes in. Glenn Irwin looks to the inside as we go towards Juniper into the braking area, and he's on the inside line. That normally would force Davey Todd out. So Davey Todd will have to concede this particular position at this particular time. Glenn Irwin hits the front. Now then, is that a breakaway effort from Glenn Irwin? Right. Through the Juniper Hill chicane we go, through to Quarry Hill now, and through the left-hander, and dropping down onto the start and finish straight, for what it is in straight. Through the left-hander, flick right. Right, last lap flag will be out. There it is, the yellow with the cross on it.
Now it's chance for Davey Todd to weigh things up, but he's only got the corners remaining on this lap to do a back marker. That's not going to be good fun.
No, that really isn't. If you catch them at the wrong time, and they are really, the disparity between some of these riders compared with the top line works, boys, is considerable. Now then, down towards York. This is going to be a bit of a melee. Over Primrose we go, and Glenn Irwin's gone through. Oh, that's a hard way round. Davey Todd had to go round the outside. Trouble is, you don't know where they're going to go when they've been shot by the rider in front.
No, and you're using lines that you've never used before as well. But anyway, they're both through. They're both through nicely, and we just see this, about 8 miles remaining of this.
So up towards the Mill Road roundabout. Now, watch this. Through the Mill Road roundabout, they scurry their way through here. They're both pretty equal here, but from this point, the first crack of the throttle, watch Davey Todd. He starts to build with that BMW. The gap stays the same, but when we get to Station Corner in just 100 yards, 150 yards time, you watch how quick Davey Todd is through here. He closes down Glenn Irwin massively. Right, here we go. Chip it in, almost flat out. It will be flat out, I believe, for the BMW. You watch how quick he is here. He's going to close right down on Glenn Irwin. Glenn Irwin leads, clear track in front of him. But watch for Davey Todd. Where is he? Nowhere.
That didn't work, did it? But no, I think, mate, is he biding his time, though? Is he biding his time? You know, why does he want to do it here? There's plenty more straights. I think he's rolled it this lap.
He might be right. He certainly closed him right down, put himself in a braking position. But that's what chicane is that going to come at? That's where it's done, really, on the brakes into a chicane. Glenn Irwin has the advantage over the link road. Can Glenn Irwin just stretch that lead enough that Davey Todd cannot get beside him into a braking area? That's the key issue here. So Todd lines himself up. Then they flick right. Watch for this. You don't want to wheel spin over that crown of the road here too much. Now then, flat out, down towards the Mathers chicane next. Todd's not close enough into the braking area here. Is that by choice?
You can bet your life that Glenn now is just doing his latest braking that he possibly can, doing everything he can to stretch away if he possibly can. But I think Todd's got a chance down into Metropole, but we'll wait and find out. Well,
Macroboy is the next stop for them. Will he slide up the inside of Macroboy? He's looked pretty spectacular there, of course. Here it is, Macroboy chicane. No, Todd stays status. Is in second place. We're talking about Michael Dunlop back in third place, by the way. James Hillier and Michael Rutter are back in fourth and fifth place at the moment, and that's on corrected time. Here we are, Metropole. Glenn Irwin leads. One last chance then. It's going to be Juniper chicane as they blast out here. There's no way that Davey Todd can get underneath Glenn Irwin, I don't believe.
The crowd going absolutely nuts. I think Davey Todd thinking about that final chicane into the bet and win chicane there, but he's got to get down the inside. He really has to.
He's really close. He's going to go for it. He's up the inside. No, he's not up the inside. I thought he was going to make an early break there. Oh, backmarker, that's going to be a problem. So through.
They're through.
It's gone.
Oh, he has.
It's really just took his eye line, and that is a real snag there for Davey Todd. He's shaking his head. That was his last opportunity. You just don't know where a backmarker is going to go.
Couldn't have been worse.
And that's what took his eye line. And so Glenn Irwin is going to make it yet another Superbike win. This is a superb record for him. His 10th Superbike win then here at the Northwest 200 under the checker flag.
Disappointment for Davey Todd. Couldn't have been worse, could it?
No, you got to feel sorry for him. But Glenn Irwin got it bang on. Oh, Peter Hickman. He's run out of fuel. He's shaking it from side to side.
Yeah, he is. You're absolutely right. Glenn Irwin, Davey Todd, Michael Dunlop, some way back. He still kept that third. James Hillier, Michael Rutter, Ernest Costamo, Craig Neve, David Johnson, Dominic Hervison and Michael Evans, the top 10.
I was thinking earlier what I would say. It means so much. I've worked so hard on this, and that's why we keep winning, because other guys are riding equally as good. Hats off to Davey. He's riding on a high. I knew he would be a huge threat coming into here, and he will be in the next race.
Congratulations to Glenn Irwin, the record breaker. He can have a rest now. He's not out in the next race, which is for the Supersport machines. Jenny, Richard Cooper won the first one. Do you expect him to have it all his own way this time?
No, I don't think so. I think Davey Todd's going to want to make amends for that race there and try and get a win. Obviously, he was unfortunate in the first Supersport race.
The second Supersport race of the week then. Richard Cooper was the winner of race one from Hickey and Michael Dunlop. Cooper, Todd, Browne across the front row. Dunlop, McLean, Paul Jordan on row 2. Hickman, Sweeney and Connor Cummins on row 3. Christian Elkin, he's a winner around this track before. Michael Evans, Ian Hutchinson is there as well. McCoy, Neve and Simpson from Dominic Herbertson. Jeremy McWilliams, after a pretty poor practice.
Yeah, had a gearbox issue and they sorted it all out. Right, we wait for the green flags to drop and the lights will come on, and they are off. A bit of a jump there from Todd. Now Todd will hope he gets past for turn 1, of course. That was where he got bowled off in the first race.
Michael Browne is there as well. No Adam McLean. He hasn't been declared fit for this race, so he's out. So we're over Primrose down towards York Corner for the first time, and that's where Todd will hold his breath, no doubt. But Richard Cooper we're on board with. Didn't get a great start on Thursday, got a pretty poor one, I've got to say, this time as well. There's Todd straight in. Browne is in second place on the number 16. Mike Browne looking for another great ride. He finished 4th on race 1 on Thursday. Up the hill then to the Mill Road roundabout, sorting themselves out. And look at that lead already. Davey Todd absolutely out of the trap so well. And listen to the growl of the Ducati in comparison to the...
Strange, well, regulations quite different for these machines. Of course, you've got the Triumphs out there at 675. You've got this 900cc. Well, this is on board the Triumph, but the Ducati's 900, 600cc, R6s. Real different bikes, but very, very similar performances.
Yeah, the Triumph is a 765, just to fill in the gap there that you left open for us. And we are into the countryside for the first time then. This is a 6-lap race. Oh, whizzing through Station Corner. Absolutely incredible. On a 600, well, on a Supersport machine, whatever configuration you're on, it's still flat out through there. Oh. Here comes Mike Browne. He was superb the other day when he came all the way through from going up the slip road at York to taking 4th place.
Yeah, really. Richard Cooper getting a good slipstream here as well. Of course, Browne and Cooper on the team, their teammates here, same colour bikes, of course.
Side by side, Mike Browne trying to get past the Ducati. I would have thought the Ducati might have had a little bit more performance.
Well, they actually do it on horsepower to a certain extent. They're good on brakes, there's no question about that. Davey Todd down there, brilliant from him. Of course, he was the winner here last year, and he will want to be doing it again. It was such a shame that it actually took the sting out of the race a bit, didn't it, with that crash in the first one?
Certainly did. Here we are then, first time around at the Magic Roundabout. Mike Browne slots in behind Davey Todd. And it's Richard Cooper. I think Richard Cooper fits a Supersport bike absolutely brilliantly. He looks just at 1 on it.
This is the R6 we're on board with, screaming, and he gets the run up towards the Mathers Cross, bumpy part. Richard Cooper also, look, teammates side by side now on the BPE machines.
I could listen to them all day. I mean, what's the collective for a group of Supersport machines, I wonder, as we drop into the chicane?
A gaggle, I'd have said. Wouldn't you? Oh, someone down the slip road there. That's going to have to stop and put his foot down.
He didn't. He'll be picking up a penalty then in that particular case. So then back on with Davey Todd, the drone of the Ducati. Meanwhile, here comes Michael Dunlop. Michael Dunlop on the 765. They've got a great sound, the triple. I think out of all of them, that's my favourite.
Yeah, pretty much the Moto 2 engine, of course, in that bike. Simon Buckmaster's here running that bike for Michael Dunlop this week.
Oh, have some of that. So into the braking area then at Macroboy chicane, under our camera and down towards Metropole we now plough, and big slipstream then for these bikes, and that really does help on these slightly lower horsepower machines compared to the superbikes. Cooper 47, oh, right out in the dirt. He was in the curb, almost on the path.
Wow.
So Metropole,
this is Supersport racing. This is proper Supersport racing. This was brilliant, wasn't it?
You
so
watch this.
Close.
Look out, he was right in the gutter. And you're committed. Once you're committed to that, you've got to make the move. Peter Hickman then on the Trooper Triumph by PHR, Peter Hickman Racing.
He's out, he's touring. Disappointment there for Peter Hickman, and this was his class, really.
Yeah, that is a major disappointment for him. He's not having it his way, is he? He's looked so good this week as well. Side by side again, Cooper is looking sharp along the seafront. Into Juniper we go on the brakes at the moment, everybody taking the ideal line. When it comes to a final scrap though, somebody is going to work out whether they're going to hug the white line up the inside and give someone the only opportunity, and that's round the outside, and that's when it does get really desperate. Listen to that thing sing. I love the sound of that Ducati, still prefer the Triumph. Finish line, over the line we go. So, still Todd from Cooper. Now look at Dunlop. Is Dunlop trying to... He got up the inside in the middle of the start and finish.
That's scary. Must have been a mistake. Coming out, surely. No, it hasn't.
Must have been a mistake by Mike Browne for him to be able to get underneath him there, for sure. Through Quarry and down across the finish line to get in front. The number 6, Michael Dunlop, then, has pinched the place from Mike Browne. Still a good ride from Mike Browne, but Dunlop, he might have to follow him through. Meanwhile, these two out front. York. Bottom gear. This is where Coops, weighing 3 stone wet through, has an advantage, perhaps.
Yeah, it looks to me like the Yamaha maybe has a bit more top speed, but it's all really about where
Mike
you're
Browne's
positioning back in front of Dunlop.
Yeah, Mike Browne has gone back in front of Dunlop again through the Mill Road roundabout, the wrong way round the roundabout. Don't do that at home, folks. Ducati time. This is where Davey Todd on the big bike is absolutely spectacular on this part of the track. He just is flat out. Look, you can see how bumpy it is here, the suspension moving up and down. This is station.
I know it sounds silly, but it's easy on a 600 through here when they virtually go through it flat out on the Superbike. So on the 600, these guys, it's a walk in the park. Don't try it yourself, but it really is. We've driven in this morning, and you just see all the black lines that are laid through there. There we go. Mike Browne goes past Dunlop again. That's an advantage that is worth just pronouncing, I suppose, in that if we have dry weather throughout the week, it is always a great racetrack come Saturday, because it's rubbered in and gives you just that little bit more grip everywhere. Screaming through then into University, still Todd from Cooper, Browne and Dunlop fighting away for third place. Dunlop has the advantage, but he's having to work for it, there's no doubt about that. Mike Browne having a good weekend. This is only, what, his second Northwest 200 weekend, isn't it? It is, yeah. So he's doing a really, really good job there. I mean, it's from Cork, of course. He's a 33-year-old fella. Good number 16 as well. Of course. Didn't you know? I did. Out to the Port Rush, down towards the first of the chicanes, as we keep an eye on whether Richard Cooper has managed. I like the overhead because it gives you a bit of an opportunity to see just how the slipstream works, but more for me is into the braking area. If we could have a look down on when they hit the brakes. Look at that. Well, that's, yeah, Davey Todd again. He's just that yard later on the brakes, isn't he? He never even got an opportunity to look at Coops then. He just made his mind up he was going to be where he was on his braking point, and it was better than Cooper's. Now then, we've got another chicane coming up in a moment, but it's Metropole, I think, that is going to count most. Look at Cooper's slipstream there, it's straight by, but watch it in the brakes. What he's got to do is get on the inside all the time. Of course, this is a twin-cylinder machine we're riding with here. Oh, every time he manages it, he's just so good on the brakes, Davey Todd. He's good at the start and good at stopping. Now then, run down to Metropole. Into the houses. I always think that this makes it feel like more than the mile an hour they're covering, because you're in amongst all the furniture. Yeah. Braking area coming up next then, and you can see Todd always takes that left-hand run down into Metropole and then pulls across to get the race in line. Some riders like it on the left side of the road, some like it on the right side of the road. It depends where the manholes are, it depends on what's in your memory. Yeah, well, the optimum racing line, of course, is to get over to the right at the last minute, but you're right, it depends on where you think it's better. We had Lee Johnson talking to us earlier on, saying that they've really smoothed out those manhole covers and they've got grip here because they never used to go over them, particularly on the accelerating part. I mean, it's one of your favourite things to talk about, isn't it? The shims. I love the manhole shims. Yeah, I've seen them, they're out there with little shims, making sure that the manhole cover is exactly the same height as the tarmac. And again, as Lee said, if you can't get your tarmac right in Ireland, you're never going to. I'm glad Lee said it, otherwise we'd be in trouble for it. Number one, Davey Todd then. Still leads this Supersport race Saturday. It's the second Supersport race, and he's looking very sharp indeed, but so is Cooper. And look at Dunlop on the Triumph. The 765 Triumph is there now. He can smell a victory as well. It's going to be between these three. Who's it going to be out of these three? Todd has looked, well, the sharpest so far. Richard, oh, have some of that. Final lap, it's finished. It is just Davey Todd from Richard Cooper, from Michael Dunlop. He could not have got much closer. I wondered whether we were going to have a last corner shake-up, but in the end it was Davey Todd who hung on from Richard Cooper and Michael Dunlop. Mike Browne gets a great fourth place. Connor Cummins gets fifth place. Paul Jordan sixth. Michael Evans, Jeremy McWilliams, Ian Hutchinson and Mike Sweeney. Come on!
Oh man, I'm over the moon with that. The boys are not giving it me easy in any of the classes. Richard's riding so good. It's awesome to be out there battling with a mate like that on track. Such hard battling. I know he's strong on the brakes and strong in different areas, and I got to give it up to Power Tool mate Ducati boys. They've prepared such an awesome bike for me here. Geez, I don't know what to say. We were saying maybe at the start of the week it's maybe a bit more of a TT bike than a Northwest bike, but I guess you can call it a Northwest bike now.